everyone. Good morning. I'm just going to wait for you guys to trickle in. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. How's everyone doing this fine first Tuesday of March? Come on in. Good morning, Pretty Petite. Good morning. Shamika Hamilton, good morning. Jodine, good morning. Welcome in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Fine girl Vanessa, good morning. Bat P, good morning. Stacy Stiles, good morning. How's everyone doing? Mike said the people's attorney is back. Where did I go? Was I here last week, Tuesday? Where was I? Wasn't I here? All right, guys, welcome in. Let me, I've been having so much issues with my live. Hopefully today that I'm working from home, my live will have no Wi-Fi issues. Fine girl from Wisconsin, good morning, welcome. Quality Pro-Tile Service, good morning. All right, guys, let me introduce myself. My name is Aisha Chidole. So I'm an immigration lawyer and I present clients with their humanitarian-based and family-based immigration to the United States. You can reach us at 407-995-6567. You can also call us on 678-325-1037 or send a WhatsApp to 404-333-8751. I just want to jump right into it. I know those, I posted about the mandatory registration for all migrants and immigrants, and, it confused a lot of people. But what I want to say, first of all, is that, this is the exact reason why people shouldn't be DIYing or dibbling and dabbling and trying to do something, because I literally read verbatim what was on USCIS's website, meaning I did not add or alter anything. I literally read it verbatim. And it was that confusing to people. For me, generally I come on here and I simplify things in layman's terms, because again, immigration is highly complex. And for most people, you think you understand, but you really don't, until you understand. So essentially, the rule that was passed last week is that, if you are an immigrant into the United States, you have to register, right, with USCIS. There was a time back in the day that they did this, and they're instituting this again. So there are going to be some people that are automatically registered already. And for those people, those would be people who already came into the United States with a visa of any sort, or were paroled in. Basically, there's a record of you inside of the United States. So, now if you enter the country with a visa, you don't get like a physical I-94 stamp, but there was a time pre-2014 when you enter, they'll give you a white paper. But now it's automatically in the system as long as you came in with a visa. The other people that are automatically registered are people who have put in an application to USCIS. So if you've put in applications to USCIS, and received like your work permit, basically any application that requires you to do like your biometrics and all of that stuff, you're already registered. Generally, the people who are not registered are people who have come in without inspection. In the legal world, we know it as EWI. Coming in without inspection basically means you cross the border. There's no record of you in the United States. And the idea is they want to have another reason to criminalize, migrants who, entered without inspection. So the idea, of course, is that, if you don't register, it's going to be a criminal offense and there might be a financial penalty. So granted, they've not yet said how this registration is going to happen. So we're still kind of waiting. So one other group of people that will need to re-register would be anyone who, when they came in, were under 13. Under 14. So if you were under 14 when you came into the United States, even if you came with a visa, you will need to re-register again when you turn 14, do your biometrics and all of that. But again, we're waiting for this. And, of course, this is definitely very disturbing for those of us in the immigration community. But that's the more reason why, if you're eligible for something, you should be filing for it, because you don't want to just be sitting there with just a registration where you're automatically being registered, that you've entered into the country, and they have access to your information. And they're like, okay, this person is an overstay. They don't have anything pending. There's nothing they've got going on. Let's see whether we can find them. Where do they live? Let's go to that area and let's go pick them up for deportation. So it's very important that if you're eligible for something, that you're filing for something, but also understand that you cannot file frivolous applications just to file an application, because you are going to definitely see an acceleration to immigration court. So when you are putting together applications, your applications need to be strong. You need to have a very solid application before submission. I will tell you, like, sometimes, like, at our firm, we don't play, about applications and what it is that we require of clients or ask them to provide. And sometimes people are like, oh, why are you asking me for this, or why are you asking me for that? But because for me personally, did I lose signal again? Can you guys hear me? I think, like, whenever I go live, I always lose signal. I don't know what's going on. The devil is a liar. He doesn't want me to give you guys this information, but I'm going to give you all this information. As I was saying, like, for me and, my clients, sometimes might be like, oh, why do you need this information? Why do you need this information? But because for me, it is important that when we send an application the first time, is the strongest that it can possibly be. One, it reduces ridiculous or useless RFEs, even though sometimes you still see that. And also because it increases your chances of success. Think about it this way. It's like, if your parents tell you, or, if you're going for a job, right? If you're going to apply for a job, are you going to go in an athleisure outfit, or are you going to go in a business outfit or business casual? Because guess what? What you present matters. Like, your presentation matters. If I came here looking crazy, like, on a daily basis, after all, I'm working from home today, right? Like, I could be here in, like, my pajamas and just looking all kind of crazy, but it doesn't present well. And it's the same way with your application. When you're submitting that application needs to look good, because once it looks good, the first thing that an officer says, okay, this is a put together application, let me make sure that I'm not just making, like, silly decisions, because if this person is using a lawyer and the lawyer has taken the effort to put together this package looking like this, I know that if I make a mistake or do something silly, there's going to be appeals, there's going to be movement and stuff that's going to happen. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I have been to interviews where the officers have specifically complimented our applications. Like, I'm not, like, I don't need to make that up, whatever it is, but this happens. But that is because we take the effort, the same effort that I take to come here every day and get myself together, to come on live, and present myself before you guys, even though I'm working from home, is the same effort that I put to all my clients' applications. And that's the same thing that you should be doing. If you're applying yourself or you're hiring, like, somebody to do it for you, get everything that you need and get it together. So that's what the registration is and what you need to do. This person is saying, I'm a citizen. I thought immigration was a civil matter, so registering is not necessary. So basically, they're basically trying to make it a criminal matter. Like, right now, they've basically said that entry without inspection is a criminal matter now. And if you enter an overstay, then that's a civil matter. So, every day the rules are changing, they're evolving. So, we just adapt and just make sure that we don't fall into the criminalities of it. The second thing that I wanted to talk about before I started getting into questions, guys, this is not the time to try to get yourself in trouble or to do anything that will get you in trouble, whether or not you have an application pending or not. You will be placed in deportation. What do I mean by that? Because a lot of states are becoming very overzealous, like Florida, for instance, and many other states where basically they have given the police officers the right to basically detain you and mandatorily report you to us if they seen you've overstayed, whether or not you have a pending case and you don't have any record, as long as there's some sort of infraction of the law. Okay, so if you're speeding, there's no reason for that in this administration. You know, what is it going to do? Get you to where you need to get to like 2 minutes earlier? Follow the speed signs. If you don't have any traffic violations, do not go purchasing firearms. Do not go stealing. Do not go doing anything basically that will get you in trouble. Do not drive while intoxicated. Like, so just stay out of trouble. You know, I know that, you know, it seems simple, but it's amazing how difficult it is, you know, for some people, especially with the speeding, you know, because people speed, you know, you just have to stop, you know, doing anything that could potentially put you at risk of a police officer stopping you. And them stopping you and saying, "Oh, okay, come into the office. You've overstayed. We're going to hold you up here, and then from here we're going to move you here." And the next thing you know, you're in deportation proceedings. Okay. Okay. So let me take some questions. Chuck says, "Good morning, great attorney. What happens if your spouse calls immigration while you have a valid application pending?" I mean, you know, what happens? I don't know. Like, so, you know, as long as you know that your spouse is abusive. It doesn't really matter what your spouse says. You know, you present the evidence that your spouse is lying. You know, I can't tell you how many spouses that we've had lie. In fact, I can't tell you how many spouses we've had who have actually set up our clients and had them arrested, you know, and said that they were physically abusing them when that wasn't the case. You know, and my thing is, if you know you're not guilty of something, there's no reason to take a plea. Do not let any public defender or any officer any criminal lawyer convince you to take a plea for something that you've not done. Fight it out. And all of them that fought it out, you know, they were found not guilty. And then, you know, that was what it was. You know, as far as VAWA goes, generally, they understand that as a victim of abuse, a lot of times part of abuse is your spouse trying to sabotage you or make threats to immigration and abuse of the legal system. So while they will take that with a grain of salt, it is important that you present corroborative evidence to show that, you know, this is this person's motives, this is what this person does, you know, really, she's the abuser, okay? It's been 37 months since I filed my I-360 and no update yet. I'm getting worried. What do you think, please? I think this is a good time to do an inquiry, to check in, to see what's going on with your application. If there's something they need so that you can provide that, so they can make a decision. If it's a request for evidence, they can certainly give you that so that, you know, they can make a decision on your case. This says, "Good morning to the most beautiful leading and trending attorney in the United States. I love her to pieces. She wears her heart on her sleeve." Thank you so much, Denise. Hope you're having a good day. Clavette says, "Good morning. I emailed you but didn't get any reply back." I am swamped with emails. So like, if you're not a client emailing me, you're most likely going into spam. Like, my email will just send you into spam. If you want to schedule a consult, please call the office. You know, you're better off using the WhatsApp number. Like, my own personal email, like, is literally filtered because I get hundreds of email within the hour. So it's difficult for me to catch up on all those emails. I submitted my work permit renewal through VAWA pending on February 4th. And so far, I didn't hear anything from USCIS, not even a receipt number. Is this normal? How does the extension work? Ahmed, February 4th is literally 30 days ago. So you're still within a normal timeline. Most times receipt notices take 4 to 6 weeks. So if you did send it to the right address, hopefully you should get it by the 6-week mark. If not, you want to definitely reach out to the VAWA unit to see if they had it. And hopefully you have saved your tracking number, because one thing we do, and for those of you trying to do it yourselves, or you know, you have somebody else doing it for you, you always want to make sure that you have proof of mail so that you can track your mail. Okay. What if the plea deal taken only included you taking an anger management evaluation, not classes, just an evaluation? This is what happened to me. Didi, it really depends. You know, like, we would have to see what it is, because there's some times where there's an adjudication withheld, and every court is different. Like, I would literally need to see the court disposition to be able to say, okay, there's no conviction, there's no nothing, or whatever the case may be. But if you're taking a plea deal saying that you need anger management, they're definitely going to stop and pause and look at that. So you really have to have evidence showing to support that your hands were tied, and that, no, this is what my spouse did, X, Y, and Z, and my hands were tied because I don't understand the law. I'm at the mercy, because I'm an immigrant, of whatever a public defender tells me to do. And so that's why I just accepted it, even though, I've done nothing. So, without knowing more about your personal situation, it's hard to say. Okay, let me take some questions on Instagram today. How long does a mother's immigration take if the children are citizens? Timeline is the same for everyone. It depends on if you're consular processing or if you're doing it here in the United States as an adjustment. If you're doing an adjustment of status, then you're going to take the normal timeline, which could be anywhere from 6 to 13 months. Otherwise, you have to go based on the country that you're from, because consular processing is going to be different. Like if let's say it's Cameroon can be shorter than, say, Nigeria, or Ghana. So it just really depends. All right, let's see what else y'all have. My prima facie determination letter for VAWA expired last month. What should I do? You don't need to do anything. They're going to send you an extension for 6 months, and they're going to continue to send you extensions for 6 months until they make a decision on your case. I will tell you guys this, and I feel like I talk about this almost every Tuesday. USCIS is always late to send prima facie determination letter renewals. So it's not something I would worry about. Like, if you've not gotten it in like 4 months or something, then you can just ask them for it. Can I send money back to my home country as a green card holder? I'm hearing you cannot anymore. You can send money back to your home country. Nobody has a right to your money. You can do whatever you want with your money. Just make sure that you're paying your taxes, though. My I-130 is still pending. My I-485 was denied because my U.S. citizen husband didn't put in his tax. Is that what you're trying to say? Only the W-2 should go ahead and refile. Like, I'm not sure if you're asking me a question or what you're saying. Good morning. How can I help my adult son get his papers after overstaying his time? So when you say adult son, is he over the age of 21? If he is over the age of 21 and you're a U.S. citizen, the only way for him to you can do the I-130, but he has to go back to his home country to finish up the process, unless he finds a spouse and has a good faith marriage that's a U.S. citizen, then he'll be able to get it that way. Once you've overstayed your time, it's really difficult to have any other route other than an immediate family basis, which is parent, child, and spouse. And when I say parent, meaning a child over 21 who's a U.S. citizen can file for their parent, and then a spouse can file for their U.S. citizen. The U.S. citizen spouse can file for their spouse, and then a parent can file for their children under 21 if they're U.S. citizens. These are for people who have overstayed. These are the categories where it wouldn't really matter right now. My EAD is approved. My travel permit is pending. Does this mean my VAWA is going good? I responded to the RFE and they received it. Your EAD and travel permit has nothing to do with your VAWA application. Those are two different applications. It doesn't mean your VAWA is going good, but it also doesn't mean it's going bad. So, I definitely want to transfer positive and good vibes to you. Hopefully your stuff is going well, but it's two completely different things. When you put in an adjustment of status, usually they will approve a work permit and a travel permit because your case is pending, not because they're going to approve your case. Now, if you got a C-31 EAD approval, then that means that your VAWA case has been approved. So that's different from the C-09 travel permit that you would get if you're doing an adjustment of status with your application. Can someone who's legally here file for VAWA and leave before her B-1 visa expires and come back to wait for the VAWA application? So you're here on a B1, B2, and your 6 months has expired or not expired. So here's the thing. If you file for VAWA and you're putting in an adjustment of status application, you cannot leave the country. You cannot leave the country until you get an advance parole. It's no more going to be about your B1, because if you leave, then you've abandoned your application. If you, what was I going to say now? If you get your advance parole and you want to leave, you still have to be very mindful of that. Personally, for me right now, something that I've advised all our clients, like if it's a non-essential travel, wait 100 days from January 20th. Why? Because I don't want my clients to be the sacrificial lamb. Like, I want to see what else is happening with other people before I can tell my clients, okay, it's safe for you to travel, because I always prefer to err on the side of caution. My own goal every single day when I take a case and when someone becomes my client is, what can I do to keep them in the United States? So if it was me, I wouldn't, in this administration, just be doing that back and forth. Okay. My 2-year green card was extended for 48 months, but my husband filed a withdrawal. What can I do, please? Haiti Toller, definitely give us a call. Let us screen you. You might be eligible for a waiver. A waiver is when you are filing it without your spouse. We would need to do an amendment. And that could be based on extreme cruelty and battery, divorce, or extreme hardship. So we can screen you to see if you're eligible for any of those. And if you are, then we'll do an amendment. Okay. Can I expedite my travel permit since my EAD is already approved, but my travel permit is not? Rabia, unless you are planning to travel, there's no need to do that. If you know you are planning to travel and you have evidence of why your travel is an emergency, you can schedule an info pass and go do an emergency travel permit. But keep in mind, your emergency travel permit is not going to give you the same amount of time as a regular travel permit that gives you the 5 years. So again, and I continue to repeat, right now, travel should not be a priority. It should not be a priority just because there's just because there's so much happening. You know, you're having so many new officers that are coming in as part of this administration, a lot of misinformation, a lot of confusion, and there's going to be a lot of mistakes that happen before they're corrected. So why put yourself in the vortex of being one of those mistakes? Okay, so if it is not a life or death situation, I will tell you guys the same thing I tell my clients: you don't need to be going anywhere right now. Okay. Can I expedite my travel? Okay, let me skip that. I just did that one. Can you leave the country for a few weeks if you file for I-751 with a divorce waiver? If you file for an I-751, it means that you are already a 2-year green card holder waiting to remove the conditions in your green card. So you are eligible to travel, because you're a green card holder. That being said, it is possible that when you come back, that you'll be put in secondary inspection. If you're put in secondary inspection, just make sure that you're able to answer the questions and that you don't have anything on your person or you that makes you or puts you in a situation that will end you up in an NTA, i.e. USCIS has, or Customs and Border, I should say, has the power to go through your phones, go through all of those things. So, just fully expect to be in secondary inspection. They'll still let you in, but sometimes it's a bit nerve-wracking going into secondary inspection. Not saying that it happens all the time, but it could happen. I have my VAWA interview for I-485. How long does it take for USCIS to make a decision? The answer is going to depend on you in particular, and what happened at the interview, meaning is there something else they needed from you? Because most times with a VAWA interview for the I-485, it means that they've already approved your VAWA. So for most clients of ours, those decisions are usually made within 48 hours, unless there's something they need from you. And it could be related to something in your medical. They need a certified copy of something or whatever the case may be. There may be a question of admissibility where you need a 601 waiver. If that is the case, then they may ask you for a request for additional evidence. Okay. My spouse collected my marriage certificate and requested for a divorce. Juliet, it depends on where you live, but you can go get your marriage. It's very easy to get a brand new copy of your marriage certificate. Schedule a consult with us. We're happy to walk you through the process of getting a new marriage certificate. When people tell me, oh, my spouse requested for divorce, so I want to file for vows. So like someone requesting for divorce doesn't mean they're abusive. It just means they don't want to be in the marriage. You can't say to people that you can't divorce you. You can't force someone to be in a marriage with you. That being said, it is important to understand the relationship and what happened in your relationship, because if, when screening you find out that a lot of all this amounted to abuse, then you'll be eligible for it. So divorce on its own typically would not be a basis for VAWA. But the question that you're asking is just about, I guess, your marriage certificate, but you can obtain that very easily. Adri says, since I haven't heard from USCIS in 3 years, what are my options? Do an inquiry, find out what's going on with your case. I'm going to take one more question and I got to jump off. Good morning. Is it safe for a green card holder to travel outside the U.S. with the U.S. citizen baby? However, mom and baby have different last names. Yes, it is. This is 2025. You don't have to have the same last name as your child. And then just confirm that as long as, one thing I would say is that if the father of the child is in the picture, it's always good to just have like a letter, even though really shouldn't be a problem. But again, erring on the side of caution, sometimes, which is what a lot of times those who are divorced that have like a child custody arrangement do, is that they would have like a letter from the other parent saying that they're allowed to take their children out internationally, or whatever the case may be. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And I'll continue to update you guys as we hear relevant news that actually matters. Again, like, I'm not about speculative news. This is this is what they're thinking of doing, or there must be a secret memo. I prefer to give you guys news when the news is actually valid and factual, because there's already enough stress in the world and pandemonium, and I just don't want to add to that. So hope you guys have a good day, and I will chat with you all later. Bye.